Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We are swinging way up, from me anyways. I'm down here in Florida, but we're swinging up into the awesome state of Wyoming. We've got Stacey Smallwood on the call this week. Stacey, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited as well. We've got some really neat things to talk about. First, you've got a horse that's kind of getting, early 20s, but had a lot of navicular issues, just a real diva, I guess you could say. So,
Not a diva since he's a guy, but...
he could be a guy diva.
But high maintenance for sure.
Yeah. There are guy divas. Come on.
There are guy divas. That's true.
maybe your horse is not one of them, but anyway. So
well, he did have to wear a little pink. But and bling.
See, I knew it. It was in there somewhere. Yeah. So, tell us about Reggie. How long have you had Reggie? How'd you get him? What kinds of things, and why is he such a high maintenance type of a horse?
Well, we acquired Reggie about 14 years ago. He's now 23 years old, and we purchased him for we purchased him for our son, Rowdy. At the time, Rowdy was 7 years old and just getting started in like junior rodeos and stuff, and did a lot with 4-H, or just starting in the 4-H. But Reggie was one of those horses that caught our eye because I was just riding kind of for fun at the time, and Rowdy was just learning and was interested in rodeo and doing all the different sports and speed events. So Reggie was one of those horses that had been there, done that, from 4-H stuff to all the speed events in rodeo, whether it be roping, barrel racing, pole bending, goat tying, heading and heeling, reining. He did everything. So we thought we could learn a lot from him. We did buy that horse, and he won Rowdy several buckles and awards, and then also taught me how to barrel race and kind of got me going in the barrel racing industry. He is a navicular horse, so he's always been one of those horses that's high maintenance. So we've always had to inject him, take care of his feet, make sure his feet were done correctly and shod just perfectly. The injections in itself were expensive, so we were always looking for options. We semi-retired Reggie about 4 years ago. That's when I just started seeing him kind of just go a little bit downhill with his older age, and he not being rode all the time or more consistently needed something extra. And that's kind of where I fell into place with Equinety. And I saw that Equinety advertised as a multi-horse supplement. And I saw that the price point was perfect and thought I would try it on him as well as some of my other horses. And the two horses that mainly wanted to try it on were my lameness issued horses. So Reggie, I saw the biggest difference with him as well as my other lame horse at the time. Just started using it and have enjoyed the product.
Yeah, so now you've been using the product now for close to, right around 3 years, just the Equinety Horse Excel. So what are some of the things that you noticed right away in Reggie who, a lot of maintenance, but
with his navicular and high
especially
maintenance.
with the navicular and, the injections. And of course, he was on the verge of retiring, but what did you notice and how quickly did you notice changes happen?
Well, since we weren't riding him as often, we didn't want that high maintenance expense. So Equinety was great for that because we weren't injecting him at the time or anything. After the first 60 days of being on Equinety, I saw a difference right away in his attitude. He barely would go out in the pasture, let alone trot or lope. After the 60 days, he would actually go out and run with the horses and have some fun. And it was like, oh my God, amazing. So I'm like, oh, this is the magic powder.
Yeah. Well, it's quite amazing too, because I would say the vast majority of people notice changes in 30 days or less, and there are those scenarios, and this one is one of them where it did take longer, but.
And we also would give him 2 scoops a day. So, and I think that really helps with horses that have lameness.
Yeah, absolutely. With lameness issues, also even with performance horses, because it really helps with the recovery and the stamina and things of that nature.
Yes.
So now, speaking of performance horses, you are a PRCA barrel racer. You also have your own business, Silver Sensations. But in regards
to couture, yeah.
Yes. So in regards to, so you kind of transitioned from learning to barrel race, and then you went into the pro barrel racing. So how did this product work on your high performance horses?
Well, my most amazing horse that I did do pro rodeo on majority of the time, Catalina County Junior, nicknamed Junior. He was a 16-hand horse, and also was 14 years old when we started the pro rodeo industry. I noticed a difference in him. He was very low maintenance. Unfortunately, I lost him to a tragic situation last summer, but I still love to talk about him because he was a rock star and so amazing. So Junior was 16 years old as of last summer. He never needed an injection. He was very low maintenance, never had to go to the vet, nothing. So I thought, oh, you know what? I can't wait to see what Equinety does for this horse. So I put him on the Equinety probably beginning of January of 2018. And then when I started performing more and more last summer of 2018, going to the pro rodeos and whatnot, I would start to use that twice a day, because I was just using it once a day. I saw a big difference in how he would perform. It also helped calm him at the rodeos, so I could use it as a pre-performance pace as well. I thought that was amazing. Very inexpensive way to use as a pre-performance supplement. It definitely helped his stamina, his overall muscle tone. Great as an anti-inflammatory. He was one of those horses that would stock up in the back, and I thought that it was a great supplement for that as well. He was ulcer prone majority of the time, so it was great for ulcer prevention. I think it helped him as far as increasing focus, just his overall immune system and well-being. So.
Sure. Now, for those of you tuning in, we're talking with Stacey Smallwood out of Wyoming, and we're talking about 2 different horses here. One of them is an older horse that was just very high maintenance, and then we're just now talking about her high-performance horse, who unfortunately she lost last year. That really didn't have a lot of issues going on, low maintenance. So the question is, how can this one product help in 2 extreme differences, really? I mean, a low maintenance and a high maintenance. So for those of you tuning in, maybe you're just now learning about the product, the Equinety Horse Excel. It's 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, no sugars, no starches, and there's no loading dose. Although we talked about giving 2 scoops in a day, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit. But what the product is specifically designed to do is give the body what it needs to release its own hormones, and therefore the body is sending those hormones to the problem areas to help with repair. So whether it be a senior horse or a younger horse or performance horse, you could have 50 different horses with 50 different things going on. And essentially it's customizing to each horse, and that's why it helps in so many different ways. And when you're talking about your first horse, Reggie, with the injections, and although you did retire him and maybe you didn't need to give injections at that point anyways, what we've heard from a lot of performance horse folks that do give injections on a regular basis, what they've reported to us, since they started giving the Equinety Horse Excel, they haven't had to inject as often, and sometimes not at all, depending on the severity of what's going on.
Yes, I'm a firm believer in only injecting when you have to.
Yes. Yeah, it's
helps tremendously with not having to inject even my other horses as often with them all on Equinety.
Sure. Now, another interesting thing, because a lot of people deal with navicular, and maybe there's somebody tuning in that they've been blessed with a horse that doesn't have navicular, and maybe they're not sure exactly what that is. What typically happens in a horse that is dealing with navicular issues?
Well, they pretty much, it's all with the hoof growth and whatnot. And the navicular horse, they have issues from the hoof all the way up their body. If you don't shoe their front feet right or set them up just right, match up their knees, then they're still going to be lame. So, with the Equinety too, it also helps the blood flow and whatnot with the hoof growth. And believe me when I say that this product, if you have trouble with their hoof or their feet or the growth of their feet, this product helps tremendously. So that's also been good for his feet because, good and bad, I guess. You have to kind of watch the farrier, getting to your farrier on time.
Right.
But for navicular horses, they need that growth and they need that extra with like the amino acids and whatnot that Equinety gives. They need that extra to help build those hoofs strong and make them more durable with having everything else going on with the navicular issues.
Yeah, and I would say it's probably one of the most common things that we hear as far as benefits go of using this product are healthier, faster, stronger growing hooves with thicker soles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And even if your horse has perfect hooves and they don't need any help in that area, it's not like you give this product to them and all of a sudden their horses, the hooves are going to do anything different. Again, we're giving the body what it needs to send those hormones to the problem area. So it might not be the hoof. It could be soft tissue repair.
Especially in Wyoming because it's really dry here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this also helps that area in the sense that it helps, prevent the cracking and, giving them that extra of whatever they need, because it focuses on what they need. But it also helps maintain those good, healthy feet.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So if you have a horse dealing with hoof issues, your farrier is going to love this product because it just gives them more to work with in a lot shorter amount of time. So if you've tried everything else out on the market and nothing seems to be working for your horse, would encourage you to give this one a try because I think you'll be very pleased. There's so many other benefits that go along with it as well. Now, and then we get talking back into your pro rodeo horse. Who really didn't have a lot of issues, but was a little bit ulcer prone and things like that. But you noticed specifically the recovery, stamina, focus were the big things with him?
Yes. A 16-year-old horse, they think, oh my gosh, that's kind of old for being a pro rodeo horse or going out there and working that hard. But, a lot of horses don't come into their prime until after they're 10 years old. It's different for everyone. They're all different anyway. But I believe that this product helped his mental focus too, because he was kind of one of those horses that had anxiety. So I would give him the normal 1 scoop a day. And then if I would go to a barrel race or a big rodeo, I would also give him this, not always, but sometimes as a pre-performance liquefied paste scoop.
Right. Yep. Yeah, no, and I didn't touch upon that earlier, but so the benefits of 2 scoops, and again, there's not a loading dose with this. The serving size is 5.2 grams, which is kind of like a rounded teaspoon. But when you give 1 scoop in the morning, what that does is it stimulates the pituitary to release hormones, which that's what helps repair at a cellular level. But those hormones have a 23.5-hour life cycle. So if you wait until the next morning, then the hormone levels would be where they would normally be for that age of a horse. So if you give a scoop in the morning and a scoop in the evening, it just helps keep everything elevated, and that's what promotes the faster healing. So we hear it time and time again where, injured horses or ones that are coming out of a surgery, and they're giving the Equinety product, especially when they give the 2 scoops, they seem to always are ready to go ahead of schedule, pretty much like clockwork. So pretty blessed in that way.
I also think at his age, it helps his overall well-being, being a rodeo horse and working that hard because, it's hard on their muscles, their joints, their bones, everything. And I saw a big difference with him when I was giving 2 scoops a day. His stamina, his, get up and go, just the way he felt. He was out there winning races and winning money and doing great. And everybody, of course, wanted to know, what in the world do you have that horse on? So he just took a liking to Equinety and did really well on it. And I was very, very happy for that and thankful for not having to spend other money, because Equinety's price point was perfect.
Yeah,
for,
it's a dollar a day.
Yeah. And a lot less money than a lot of the pre-performance pace and stuff that are out there.
So, well, before we wrap this call up, one of the other things that you do on an annual basis in honor of Rowdy is you have an annual barrel race. So tell us a little bit about that, how long it's been going, and let's hear about that.
So we did lose our son in October of 2010 to a tragic ranch accident. So we started his foundation called Rowdy's Hope in Motion, which is online, and we have a website, rowdyshopeinmotion.org. We started this in his memory, and we reach out to farm, ranch, and rodeo families that have been in some type of tragic farm, ranch, or rodeo accident, or if they're a farm, ranch, or rodeo family that have had tragedy going on or, have been hurt in some way, then we try and reach out to them. And it doesn't have to just be in Wyoming. We reach out to people all over the world. Mm-hmm. So we have this annual Rowdy's Hope in Motion and Cowboy Rowdy Memorial Race every year, and this year is our 10-year anniversary. We're excited, yay! That we've been helping families.
Absolutely.
And we also have to thank Equinety and you guys, because you guys have always supported us, and we appreciate that. And we basically have this once a year so that we can raise money for his foundation and reach out to people and help them.
Yeah, that's great. Now, I know this year...
the dates. This year's dates in Laramie, Wyoming is June 26th through 28th here in Laramie, Wyoming. And you can go to the website to learn more about what's coming up. And we've got the COVID-19 thing going on, so we're hoping and praying things still go through. But
yeah, absolutely. Now,
we'll keep everybody updated on the webpage.
For sure. Give us that website one more time.
It is rowdyshopeinmotion.org.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Stacey Smallwood out of Laramie, Wyoming, thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories here on the Equinety Podcast.
Yes, thank you, John.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.